All right. So, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go over what DaVinci Resolve is, where to install it, and a few of the basics. And this will be the first in the series of me attempting to learn how to be a better video editor and content creator. And then after I've mastered, I don't know if I can say mastered, after I've become more proficient with DaVinci Resolve, I'll start to move on to Affinity Photo and Affinity Design and Publisher, which are or will be useful for me to make thumbnails. The whole purpose of me trying to tackle this is to, one, get better at thumbnails, one, to better at video editing, and to make better content in the long run that I might be able to entertain y'all better. But so this will be me walking through everyone through what DaVinci Resolve is. It's two versions again, and me walking and going over myself several times as I familiarize myself more and more with the product. Now, I've had this for a while, and I've used it loosely, but I have not learned it at all. I have stumbled through it, watched a YouTube video here and there, watched what they did, don't remember what I did, any of that other stuff. So that said, in the link in the description below will be the link for DaVinci Resolve. It is two versions. There are two versions, a free download and a $2.95 studio version. There are a lot more tools and resources available inside of Studio. And yes, I know I'm going to get a lot of people telling me, well, just use Adobe Premiere or Promote. Those are $20 a month. This is free. I don't have to pay anything for it. Side-by-side comparison, yes, Premiere, to my understanding, is a little less complicated or more user-friendly in some of its aspects. However, again, you have to pay for it. The other part of it that I'm, as I've done all my research lately on the new RTX 40 and the benefits and everything that are garnered from using an RTX 40 card with DaVinci Resolve and an Affinity Photo Designer and all those, and several other editing platforms, is that they actually coded for it and they updated their software, and you have a really nice performance uptick in as far as encoding goes and exporting and editing and compiling and all this other stuff. We're talking 20 to 30% performance boost. And this is over what you're getting out of the Adobe products like Premiere and all them, which haven't been updated, and again, cost you money. So here's a trade-off. Am I a little cynical on it? Yeah. I believe that a software package, I shouldn't have to pay a monthly fee. I'm really tired of the software as a service routine where you have to pay for it all the time and they're just milking you for a purchase. Whereas this one here, it's free. Affinity Photo Designer and Publisher, they're like $70 or something a pop, one-time fee with updates. When during usually the holiday time, they offer 50% off, so you're usually able to get all three for fairly cheap. And that's more than sufficient to do what we're doing as content creators for YouTube. Now, if we get higher level or anything like that, then we might want to look, or you might want to look at something more. But for myself, myself, and I, this is sufficient for the time being. All right, so makers of this is Black Magic. I'll also put their link on the Twitter for their Twitter on there, so don't get confused. I'm going to be using the free download version. I have a couple different training platforms or programs that I purchased. I will not be streaming me going through those. I'm going to do my own stuff that I learned to help myself remember it. And that's what you're going to get from this series. So DaVinci Resolve, video editing software platform for free. Studio's got a lot more features to it. That's where it is. There's a workflow to it. Typically that workflow is going to be cut, edit, color, deliver. But there's some pages that are in DaVinci Resolve. You have media, which is of course your media files and everything else. Your recordings, your VODs, whatever else, whatever you're trying to edit. The cut, which is where you're going to do your rough editing, your splicing, putting the video clips in order, working on timelines, things like that. Edits where you're going to put in things like, oh, click here and subscribe. Now, by the way, if you like this stuff, please hit subscribe and hit the thumbs up. It means a lot. I'm trying to learn all this and get my channel built at the same time. This is why I'm trying to learn this. But if you find this useful, please let me know and hit that subscribe button and ask questions in the comments below. Whatever I'm trying to learn, if you're trying to learn, I'll try to find an answer. So editing is more advanced editing. Fusion, I believe, is for visual effects and motion graphics, if I remember right. Color is, again, color correction. Fairlight is for audio mixing. This is some really advanced stuff. I don't know how far into Fairlight I'll go. I don't do a lot of audio mixing. Like 4 or 5 tracks is not what they consider advanced. Fairlight would be 4 or 5, more than 4 or 5 tracks, I guess. And then the delivery, the export, how you're going to set it up, what do you want it to view as, things like that. Another really cool thing about Blackmagic and all that you can, and I'm still learning about this one, is they have a feature where you can save to their cloud and you can share and edit the same projects with your peers. So if you're a content creator and you upload your files, now it does cost a fee, from my understanding. We'll go into a different one on that one. And if I misspeak, I apologize. It's just something I briefly read about earlier. Then you can work the same project from one folder in the cloud and save some time, I think. I'll need to find out more about it. Anyways, so we have the ones that we're going to be, you'll typically work through is you're going to typically launch, well, let's just do this. So I have launched DaVinci Resolve, and you're like, well, that does not look like anything like video editing software. Well, the first thing it's going to do is take you to the projects folder, which is where you set up the projects you're working on. Am I working on First Descendant intro or whatever it might be, and you can set up folders and all these different things. It's database driven, so you set your project up, and remember the project is not your assets, is not your video clips, it's not your sound effects, your overlays, your subscribe, click now kind of a thing. Which we'll go over this one at a different time. This is a guy named Scoot to help me learn how to do this one here, but that's different. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in, you launch DaVinci Resolve, and you got a new project. You can click new project here, you can click there, or you can right click new project, new folder, import a project, whatever. I'm just going to do a new project. We're going to call it Learning DaVinci. Okay. And then that's going to open up, and this is what we call the workspace. My understanding, this default here is their workspace. And if you come up here to the top, maybe I should zoom in because I don't know if I can zoom in. Is this too small for everybody? Should I switch monitors? How's it look on this one? Because this is a 4K monitor. Oh man. Okay. I will have to work on that one. So for tonight, please bear with me on this. Across the top, you have DaVinci Resolve, which is the About Resolve. You can also check for updates. Make sure you're version 18. You have the file. You can actually create a new project from here. You can do new timelines, save projects, import, export. We're not going to touch any of that stuff tonight. I'm just going over the lay of the land, the basics from if you may. You have the undo, the redo, the history, the copy, the paste. Again, these are all semi-tools that aren't, once you've got stuff going on, you'll start using them more. Trim, again, it's getting the video clips and everything done, but that's more advanced stuff. What we want to do is get things set up, timeline clip. My understanding here is that what you really want to do is open up a new project, and you can always reset the UI to be a default view if you've made changes and you're lost and everything else. But this is where you're going to go. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the media pool, right? This is where you're going to get all of your clips and videos and captures and recordings and all that stuff from, right? And this is where you're going to organize it. So you can add a bin. Now, once you add a directory or file, it's going to be no longer directly like we call it, but DaVinci Resolve will refer to it as a bin, right? So you'll have a folder or a directory, aka bin. Now, if we want to add something, we can come down here. Now, I use videos, which is where all my stuff gets saved to. And we'll just pick one. So let's go with, I don't have anything in God of War yet. That's going to start this week. As I pull that all out, we can go to the First Descendant, and we can just go to open, and we can just grab all these files, right? And this, you can change the frame rate. Now I'm going to show you what happens though. Problem is, now I've got this project and all the folders. Now I know their First Descendant beta videos, right? From leading up to the beta and some of the VODs and stuff while I was actually playing the game during the beta phase. However, that's not really a good accurate. So we can come in here and we can highlight everything. You can delete, and what we can do is we can do what is this? Import media folder. So we can come into here, and we're just going to come here. We're going to select a folder, and it's now you can see the master. If I can come to master, I now have one that's called First Descendant, and that's keeping me organized. So all of a sudden I can be working on this project. I can have multiple games if I want, or if it's First Descendant, I can do First Descendant shorts, First Descendant gameplay, First Descendant class specific, First Descendant encounter, First Descendant boss kind of thing, and really organize my process. For right now, we're just going to go with this. Now, once you have those in here, that's fantastic, and they're organized. And you're gonna, as we go through this, we'll work on being better organized. That way, it makes the workflow easier. We're gonna come over here and we can go to preview. Now, as you can see, as I scroll through, where's the volume control on that? Because you guys do not want to hear me muffling through. Oh, it's over here. So top right-hand corner, we can mute it, right? Just right here. You guys might not see that. Where my mouse is at, you just left click on it and it mutes it, right? But since I have not selected, if I click on this one here in the top right, oh, can I get bigger on the view? Yeah, I can. Then as I go across them, you can see that it's going to preview all of them across the board. That's fantastic. Not a problem. But if I just want to look at one, if I left click on the one, these no longer, the other ones that aren't selected no longer show up. I'm just looking at this one right here. So that's the media pool. You need to make sure you're in media. And you can see, well, here's media. And it lets me see what my media sources are, and that's it, in preview. Nothing else. Just lets me manage and organize. Now you can see here, it's setting the project up, and the project and its organization is saved within DaVinci Resolve, but these video clips are not imported in, per se. They're referenced and then used, and I can edit them and import them in as I go through. Cut, though, is where we're going to do the first, for me, from what I'm learning as a beginner content creator, cut is the first stop for me to do video editing and get these things put in order, mixed and matched. And I don't know why it doesn't default. See, this is source clip, source tape, and timeline. So I still don't know any of this stuff, so I need to really get good with this. So we're going to have the source type, and we can organize these, put them in different order if we want, from my understanding, so we can clip. And you get different media previews, and this one gets really gnarly. I'm not ready for that one. My understanding, having watched a couple of videos in the training session, is these two, the thumbnail preview and the metadata view will be what I'm primarily going to use. I'll probably work out of thumbnail view, and I need to figure out how to make this bigger. But yeah, that was glad. He did a breakdown of his JBear in the first time, so it was a really good build. The next is, as you can see, this is for cut, so we can get that in there, and we have basic use of timeline. If we have a video in here, you can do certain things with the timeline. I'm not from 100% sure on how to do that, but that's what this whole thing is about. The next thing we work on is edit, Now, edit is where we're going to be able to do quite a bit more with placement, and you can drag your media files down here and you can pull them up and split them, and you can add in audio tracks. You can see right here there's several audio tracks. You can shorten them, lengthen them, trim it, all these different things. This is where you're going to get nitty gritty. This is also where you could take a file. Let me see if I can find it. Like this. That won't work. It can't be WebM. Here we go. So this, can I play this? I don't remember. So I don't remember where I have to put it. Anyways, this would be like an overlay or a transition that lets me put this in there, subscribe and like. And I'll be doing a different video on that once I remember how to do it or relearn to do it. But this is where you're going to be doing. Edit is that screen for all of that. So essentially the workflow I'm going to have so far: launch DaVinci Resolve, make sure I have a project established, go to cut, make sure I go to media pool, import the files and media files that I need. And then once I have them set up there, I will go and looked at and done my rough decisions and stuff there. Then I will go to edit and start working. Once I'm done with edit, I'm not going to mess with Fusion, where you add color effects and motions and audio or visual effects and motion blurs. I'm nowhere near that right now. Down the road, maybe. But I'm going to go to color. Color is where I can do saturation changes to each clip, making sure they're balanced. Change if I want to make a clip black and white. Well, any of that other stuff, I can do that all in here. So once I'm done with the color editing, I'm going to go to deliver. And this is where I can name it, save it using coding type. What do I want to export at? 720p, 1080p, 1440. Which codecs encoder do I want to use? All this other stuff. And then I can export. So for me, that's about the basics of what I understand the preliminaries to be and the workflow that I'll be using. Make sure your media files are organized. You can work faster and easier. This also lets you know what your storage is at, utilization. Cut is where you're going to import your stuff, get it all set up, and then you can see you got a basic timeline here. I don't know if that's going to, let's see if that puts it in there. I can't remember if it does or doesn't. Does it have to be on top? I don't remember. Yeah, so if you splice it in, then it cuts out over the video. In editing, you use a transition. And now I'm not going to leave any of this stuff in there, but you can also rewind. You can start over. So there's basic controls. You're going to do editing. Again, I think you can undo what you did relatively easy. But this is called a transition. I got to remember how to go do that. And we can go from there. And then we'll go to color, and we'll go to deliver. Once I've mastered those, then I might start using something like Fusion to add more effects if I want to, and Fairlight for audio. But I don't plan on adding too much audio other than my boring voice and maybe some game sound effects. So that's DaVinci Resolve in a nutshell. If you have questions about its functionality, please let me know. Again, their website will be in the description below. They do have a lot more to offer than just the free version. The studio version that you have, it's $295 plus tax, is a lot more enriched. As you can see here, includes everything in the free version plus DaVinci Neural Engine, dozens of additional Resolve effects, temporal and spatial noise reduction, stereoscopic 3D, film grain, optical blur, mist effects, and a bunch more. Also supports 10-bit video and up to 120 frames per second resolutions beyond 4K. So this one's here, most likely we're going to be working 4K, 60 frames, all that other stuff. If you're going to go faster than that, you're going to have to pay. But while you're trying to learn it, or if this, for most of the stuff that we're doing on YouTube and in other platforms like that, this is going to be more than sufficient. They also have other platforms and tools that you can use. If you're doing nothing but editing, you're a full-time editor for somebody or for lots of different streamers, you can get things to speed up your life, simplify ease of use. I am not ever going to go this far. Blackmagic makes some amazing tools, not only this, but as well as in photography and everything else in videography. So this will be in the link below. Again, if you've got questions, please let me know. If you're confused like I am, please let me know. If there's certain aspects you want to see worked on, let me know. Again, I'm going to be following a learning pattern through this whole video series and making my go of it the best that I can. And if you want to come along on the journey with me, feel free to do so. I am approaching this again 100% as a new, I'm going to start off with, I'm going to call myself a wannabe content creator, because unless you put the time and the effort in, I don't think you get to call yourself a content creator, because there's a lot more to it than just throwing a video up on YouTube every other day. Anyways, if you've got all that and you want to learn, I'm looking forward to learning this with you. Questions below. Again, hit the sub and like button. Let me know. It really means a lot. And I look forward to learning with you guys and gals and everybody. The Texas thing. I was going to say, I struggle. I want to say y'all, but I was told I say y'all too much. So now I'm saying guys and gals and all that. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, y'all. Have a nice night.